Before we get into the episode, I am thrilled to announce that the EntreMD Business School is open for enrollment. The EntreMD Business School is the only school of its kind for physicians who want to build 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses. Over the last 2 years, we have had hundreds of doctors go through the school with unbelievable results. Some of them run brands, some of them run private practices, some of them are coaches, some have other kinds of service-based businesses or product-based businesses. And we've had people come in and cross the 6-figure milestone, cross the 7-figure milestone, cross the multiple 7-figure milestone. You will be in a place where you'll get the coaching, the community, the accountability that you need to thrive as an entrepreneur, especially in the times that we're in. So maybe you've been following me for a while. Maybe you've been getting so much out of the EntreMD podcast and you've been wondering, how can I work with Dr. Una and the community more? Well, this is your chance. Come join us in the EntreMD Business School. It is application only. So go to entremd.com/business to turn in your application. I cannot tell you how many doctors have made statements like this. I recovered my investment in the first week. I recovered my investment in my bank account in the first 90 days. This is the best investment I've made in myself ever. I want you to have that kind of story, not just a story of building a great business that serves a lot and earns a lot, but having a business that gives you the freedom to live life on your terms. So don't wait any longer. entremd.com/business. And now for the episode. Hi, docs. Welcome to the EntreMD podcast, where it's all about helping amazing physicians just like you embrace entrepreneurship so you can have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on your terms. I'm your host, Dr. Una. Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of the EntreMD podcast. As always, I am super pumped to be talking to you. And this episode is our 250th episode. Can you imagine that? 250 episodes in less than 3 years. Unbelievable. And so I do want to stop and tell you listening, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for sharing the podcast, reviewing, for letting me know how it's making a difference in your life and in your business, and for walking up to me at conferences and say, hey, I love listening to your podcast. This is what I got out of it. I have enjoyed this journey. I have enjoyed being a part of your career, your business. I have truthfully enjoyed it. And for those of you who went a step further and you're a part of the EntreMD Business School, I want to say a big thank you. And also for staying hungry, right? Because I meet with you every week and you still show up here every week to listen to the podcast and pull gems and nuggets out of it. So I am beyond grateful. I'm going to have to celebrate this. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm all about celebrating milestones. But I just wanted to say a big thank you. And you know what I would really love on a day like today? If you could just hit me up on Instagram, it's at Dr. Una Chukwu, so UNACHUKWU, and then just let me know, just say happy 250th, right? And then just let me know how this podcast has made a difference in your business, okay? And if you want to put it in your stories as well, you can do that. But I would really, really, really appreciate it. So you can do that. You can tag me and, let's celebrate together. And the only reason why I got to episode 250 is because you listened and you shared and it mattered and it was making a difference, right? Because if it wasn't, what would be the point? So thank you so much. I truthfully appreciate you. I'm looking forward to when I can start doing meetups in different cities. And I'm just like, EntreMD community, I'm in Philly, and I'm really looking forward. I'm going to do it. I was going to do it before the pandemic hit. So I was going to do it in 2020. So I'm still going to do it. And that would be amazing to actually see the faces of the people who listen. I am so grateful, beyond grateful for you. Okay. And so in this episode, I thought of what to share with you. And I thought about the relationship between fear and success, the truth about fear and success. And I bring this up because Fear is so crippling, and it crippled me for the longest. See, I talk about, being a socially awkward, super shy, introverted introvert. And that was the reason why I never really networked. I didn't make a lot of friends. I didn't really show up on stage. I didn't air my true opinions. And I attribute all of that to being an introvert. But now, after decades of personal development, I know it's not because of that. It's because of fear. It's fear of my ideas being rejected, and fear of being rejected by people, and the fear of showing up on stage and stumbling. And it's all fear, because I am still an introvert and I do all those things. And I'm not about the regret life, right? If there's something I didn't do when I was supposed to do it, what I do is I course correct, and then I help other people not experience that. And then that way I don't have to live in regret, because my mistake led to hundreds and thousands of people not making the same mistake, right? And so there's no regret there. But the older I get, the more I work on myself, the more I realize that we really need to reframe our interpretation of fear. We really do, because it'll give you this life that you'll love, because then you're free to do all the things you want to do anyway. Because I always secretly wanted to have a lot of friends. I wanted to be able to carry on conversations with people. I wanted to be on stage. I was just too scared. So scared that I sold myself on the lie that I didn't want to do those things, that I didn't like those things. That was a lie. That was a lie. I just thought I couldn't. Right? So let's talk about that. Because for some, it's the fear of starting. Like, if I start, what if it doesn't work? The fear of putting yourself out there. Oh, the haters are going to come for me. What if I forget my lines? What if I don't know what to say? What if people don't like my idea? And all of that. Fear of hiring. I was so scared of hiring that when I started my practice, I answered my own phones. I was my own front desk. I gave my own vaccines. I was my own MA, and I did my own billing. If you can imagine that, that is the level of fear. That's why I talk about fear so much. And that is why I love helping people overcome their fears, and just so they can get stuff done. I did all that. Okay. And then when it was time to hire a doctor, I was like, oh my goodness, another 6-figure salary. How am I going to pay that? Blah, 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 blah. And on and on and on. I'm telling you, right? But how are you going to get freedom if you don't have a team? It's not possible. Okay. The fear of leading. So some of us, we have teams, but we don't want to lead. We won't lead. We won't hold anybody accountable. We won't cast vision. It's all fear, right? It's fear. Fear of selling, fear of asking people to work with you, fear of asking people for money. And it's just all over. But the thing is, fear is so crippling, is so paralyzing, and it will keep you from achieving your dreams. Okay. So let's look at this fear deal, right? I think back to becoming a physician, and I'm so grateful for our training as physicians, because it turned us into physicians, right? And so, yes, there are some issues with training systems and all of those things, like anything else. But the thing is, it still turned us into physicians, right? And so you want to pull the good. We're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? So I want you to think about it. Think about fear on your way to becoming a doctor, okay? So maybe you're in high school, and there's this pre-med program that you're supposed to get into, and it's competitive, and you don't know if you're going to get into it. And then you're afraid, because all those other people are smarter than me and all of those things, but you got in. It didn't stop you from studying. It didn't stop you from taking the exam. It didn't stop you from getting in. It could have stopped some people, but it didn't stop you. And then you went into the pre-med program, and now there's the brightest of the bright, right? All trying to get into, medical school and all of these kind of things. And you are nervous. Maybe you were the smartest in your class, and now you're with all these people who are as smart, and you were nervous and you didn't know if you make it and all of that stuff. It never stopped you. You got into medical school. You took your MCAT and all of those things. And then you got into residency. You didn't know if you'll get in, because there are many people who are super smart who didn't get in, and all of that. And you got in, and it was time for your training, and you were in charge of patients, and you had to do all these procedures, right? And For each procedure, you had never done them before. Like people tell me, well, I can't do this because I've never done it before. I'm like, everything you did to become a doctor, you had never done before. Like, come on. What do you do? Spinal taps as in kindergarten? You know? And so you had to do all these things you had never done before. And you didn't even do them in isolation. The patients were watching you. The nurses were watching you. The junior residents were watching you. And you failed many times. I don't need to talk to you to know that you failed. You failed at many things, many times. But let me tell you the one thing you didn't do. You did not see the fear as an invitation to stop. The fear was something that you acknowledged it was there, but you had decided that we are going to hit this goal. I am going to become a doctor, right? So I want you to think about it. Not letting fear vote is what let you become a physician. If you had allowed your fears to vote, you would not have become a physician. In the same way, letting your fear vote will stop you from becoming a successful entrepreneur. Not letting your fears vote is what's going to put you on top. And so you already did it for medical school. And I'm only asking that you do it one more time. Just one more time. Your fears, you can reframe them. Like when we really think about it, if you're at home watching Netflix, you're not afraid, right? If you're at work doing a procedure you've done 10,000 gazillion times, chances are you're not afraid. When does the fear show up? When you're about to do something new or something bigger or something better. And so is the fear really, because a lot of times we interpret it as I'm afraid. So what that means is I shouldn't do it. But is that what it really means? Because what it really means is I'm about to do something I haven't done before. I am about to grow. I'm about to step out of my comfort zone. And we all know that all the magic happens on the other side of your comfort zone. If you truly believed in living in your comfort zone, you would not be a physician. The only reason why you're a physician is you chose for over a decade to live outside of your comfort zone. Like you chose. You're like, it's all going to be uncomfortable. It's all going to be scary, but I'm going to do it. I'm only asking you to do it one more time. Fear does not mean stop. Fear means you are at the border of your comfort zone. It means that you're about to step outside your comfort zone, right? Now, the outside your comfort zone is uncomfortable, but it's also the only place where all the magic happens, right? So what if we thought a little less about the discomfort and we thought more about the magic? What if fear meant you're about to create magic? You're about to create something that didn't exist. You're about to have a new opportunity, right? You're about to have a new kind of result, a new kind of outcome. What if we thought of fear that way? It's just a pointer that something amazing is about to happen. Because we can think that way, right? Okay, so I like looking at it this way. Your success is found outside your comfort zone. And if you see anybody who's successful, they have been afraid a lot, right? Same way as a physician, you've been afraid a lot. So anywhere you see success, there was fear. Where you see success, there was fear. And so success and fear go together. Success and fear are Siamese twins. Fear is part of success. We just don't let it vote anymore. We don't let it mean stop. So embrace it. Don't try to run away from it. Don't try to get rid of it. Just realize it is something that shows up. And when that shows up, it means on the other side, there is success, right? So we embrace it. We embrace it. If you want to be a person who experiences one level of success after the other, one desired outcome after the other, you're a person who's going to embrace fear. And so for me, I tried for years to get rid of fear. I didn't like it. And it literally meant stop to me. Like what I'm talking to you about, to me, it's like a great discovery. I'm like, wait a minute. I had always interpreted that feeling of fear to mean stop it. Don't do that anymore. But that's not what it means. I was trained wrong. I understood wrong. I've been interpreting wrong. It just means magic is about to happen. It's about to happen. So I want you to think about it. Okay. This is my homework for you. Don't think of many things. Just think about 2 things in your business that fear has stopped you from doing. Maybe you've dreamt up a business for the last 5 years. You haven't even as much as done an LLC. Maybe you've been afraid of putting yourself out there. So your strategy has been wishing. You wish somebody will find you. You wish clients will just magically appear. You wish your panel at work would just get full. Maybe you've had many speaking opportunities and you said no to all of them. Maybe you've known you should hire for the last 2 years and you're burned out as an entrepreneur, but you've been terrified of hiring. Well, maybe, or maybe you've refused to set revenue goals because you're afraid you won't hit them. Whatever it is, I want to invite you to decide today that I'm done allowing my fear to stop me. That is not what my fear is there for. I'm not going to let it stop me. I'm going to keep going. I'm making a decision today to say no to fear and say yes to my dreams and say yes to the things that are going to create massive growth in my business. Say yes. That's what I want you to do. Because if you do that, if you could do that, I felt fear when it was time to start this podcast. I was like, what will people say? I'm not a podcaster. Would people listen to it? But at that point, I'd learned. See, I'm even trying to remember the fear because at that point, I'd learned not to let it vote. I'm like, forget that. I'm going to do it. And I did it with my iPhone 7, with my earphones that came with the phone in my basement, with my brother editing the first few episodes, adding the music, doing the cover art, and all of that. He's like, I don't know how to edit podcasts. I'm like, Google it. I mean, I'm a doctor. I recorded the podcast. We're learning new things here. But here we are, less than 3 years later, 250 episodes, over 130 countries. And those are nice numbers, but they're nice numbers because they represent lives changed and businesses that have been taken to the next level and doctors who are now in control and doctors who've brought in thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions, I'm not kidding, millions of dollars into their businesses. What if I let my fear stop me? So what will be possible for you if you don't let your fear vote? If you dare it, you feel it and still do what you want to do. And I tell you this, the more you practice daring your fears, the less of a hold it will have on you. And it's a beautiful place to be. Okay, so I want you to make that decision today. And I want you to start daring your fears. Do what you're afraid of. Do it. And I cannot wait to celebrate where you're going to be. Okay, so thank you for taking a listen to this. Thank you as always for being part of the EntreMD community. I am rooting for you. I am 1,000% committed to your success. Is not just an ending in my emails. I truly mean it. And I can't wait to see what you do with this. And I'll see you on the next episode of the EntreMD podcast. Hey, if you love listening to the EntreMD podcast, I want to invite you to join EntreMD On Demand. It is my signature subscription program that gives you access to a library of business courses designed to help you do one thing as a physician entrepreneur, and that is to thrive. Just head out to entremd.com/on-demand, and I'd love to have you join us. See you on the inside.